All right, here we go, part 2. So I want to make sure this is super clear how you can duplicate something by just clicking and dragging. Again, you're going to select your object. You're going to hold Option first, and then as you're dragging, after you've clicked, then add Shift. So it goes Option, click, Shift, and drag. Okay, but we don't need that. So let's give this guy some hair. The hair is really just a circle. I think, let's see what I could do for the hair. I think we're going to give him some bright blue hair. You'll notice I've changed his skin color because I wanted something different. So I'm going to go into my ellipse tool. I'm not going to put a stroke on this one. So I'm going to make sure that comes forward by double clicking on it. No stroke. And I'm just going to add a big old circle. Now what I'm going to do next, again, I'm going to make sure my shape is selected. I'm going to go up to Effect, Warp, or actually Distort and Transform. Warp is later. And I'm going to go to Roughen. Roughen is a fun option where it just plays around with the edges of your shapes and it basically zigzags and roughens them up. I'm going to turn on preview so you can see. If you bring it to absolute chaos, you don't want that. The farther down it is towards the left, the more normal it is. So I'm going to play around with size a little bit. Detail means how many spikes are there. You could do corner points or you could do smooth points. It really is just a personal preference. I think I like smooth. And I don't want you to go crazy. That's crazy. Don't do it. Just enough to give him like a little puff of hair. I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to go up to Object, Arrange. That's where the order is. And I'm going to send it backwards. That's going to put it behind his eyes. Or I could just go all the way to Send to Back. There we go. So now he's got some hair. Now if I try to rotate this, watch what happens. Got my nice hair shape. It changed. The reason it did that is I need to expand the appearance. When things have an effect applied to them, it messes up their path. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go up to Window, Appearance. I'm going to select a shape. Actually, there's an easier way to do this that I'm going to show you guys. While my object is selected, I'm going to go to Expand Appearance under Object. And all that does is it turns your effect into a path. So now I can select this and rotate it as I wish without my object being distorted. I'm actually going to make this a little bit smaller. If I hold Shift, it preserves. Hang on, maybe it didn't. Yeah, if I hold Shift, it preserves the proportions of my object. If I don't, I can make it squishy. I can stretch it out. So if you want things to stay the same, make sure you're holding on to Shift. All right, let's make this little dude a body. He needs a body now. So I'm going to, again, go with my ellipse tool. And if I want the same settings as another shape that I've created, I'm going to use the eyedropper tool over here and click on it. That gives me the same stroke, the same outline, the same color. And instead of playing with the paths, I'm going to go up to Effect, and now I'm going to go down to Warp. So there's all different functions underneath Warp. You could do Arch, you can play around with the settings on that. I actually kind of like that. And because his body should be behind his head, because it's attached by the neck, I'm going to send that to the back. Mr. Smith says hello. I am recording. Where was I? Anyway, so I'm thinking I probably need to expand the appearance of that since that didn't work. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and send that to back. Object, Arrange, Send to back. Now that works. Cool, cool, cool. Send him right back in there. So he needs a shirt. He's naked. We don't like that. let's give him a shirt. So let's do another ellipse. Let's make it a different color. Let's give him a bright blue shirt. Whoops, that changed my stroke. We want the same stroke. And you can tell which one you're altering by the corner. There we go. All right, so I'm going to pull a trick again. I want to make sure this is covering. But before I use the intersect function of my pathfinder, I'm going to copy that body so it doesn't completely disappear. So I'm going to hit Command F, paste in front. Couldn't see it, but it's there. Moving on, and I'm going to select them both. Now if I hit intersect, creates a nice little shirt for him. I actually shifted over and moved it a little bit. I'm just going to make sure that lines up. If you need to, you can make it a little bit bigger. There we go. So again, selecting them both. Because it's not an affected object, I should be able to just send it to back. Send backward. Backward only goes one step. To back goes all the way to the back. There we go. Cool, cool. Now I need some arms. Again, if I use the dropper tool, it'll sample the stroke color, and the fill color. So now I'm going to make his arms. And I'm actually going to go to the effect again. I'm going to go down to warp. And this time I'm going to use arc. And if you put it at 0, you can see kind of like a normal-ish setting. So that's what I've made so far. If I push it this way, it gives me something like that. You can play around with horizontal versus vertical, like so. So you get something you like. I think I kind of like that. Looks like he's got a little elbow. And just out of habit, because I think I'm going to need it to happen later, because I applied an effect, I'm going to expand appearance. And I'm going to move this over and rotate it so it looks like it's connecting with his body. There's that. Now, if I want something the exact same, all I got to do is click on the object, select it with my black tool, and I'm going to go over to transform, and I'm going to hit reflect. All this does is it creates a mirror image of that. And I want this to be on the vertical axis. Whoops, forgot to copy first. That's important. So I'm going to hit Command C, Command F to make another arm, and then I'm going to reflect it. First, I'm going to go to transform, which is all the way up here. My brain is still wired for Photoshop, so I was looking for transform down at the bottom. And hit reflect on a vertical axis. Now I can just move that over if I want it to stay in line with where it was before. Drag it over. And kind of position his arm. I'm not super happy with where that is, so I'm going to send it to the back. Bad objects go to the back. And now it looks like kind of he's got his arm tucked behind his shirt. Maybe even rotate it out a little bit. Just like so. And there's my cartoon. I could even add some shoes. Let's give him some shoes. Let's get fancy, guys. Just so you can see a couple more of the effects. Whoops. Always switch to your selection tool, children. If I want to duplicate an object, we'll come back to that. Let's play around with one more effect. Let's go to warp. Let's go to wave. Ooh, that was kind of cool. We've got twist. Could make him look like he's wearing slippers. And last but not least, we've got bulge. Make it bigger. Yeah, I think he needs a bigger foot. I'm going to drag this over here. Send my object. First, I'm going to expand appearance. Why am I doing that? Because it has an effect applied. And I'm going to send that shoe all the way back to the back, so it is behind the body. And now I can take that, Command C, Command F in front, go up to Object, Transform, and Reflect. Now I can slide that on over, either using my arrow keys or my mouse. I'm going to edit it just a little bit. There we go. Now he's got some feet. And there's my cartoon.